So by using this, basically there are plenty of different ways to represent a sequence. A sequence is an ordered string or ordered element with different items in itself. String is just, כולם פה דובר עברית, נכון?
רק למה.
עכשיו כן?
כן, אבל זה
Some people
קודם.
don't. Some people don't. Also
Okay.
over there.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, string is just a sequence of characters, okay? We will see different type of sequences as the list we saw before. But anyway, there is common ground between all of these. They're all sequences, okay? So this is a sequence. This is a sequence. This is a sequence, okay? We'll get to each of them, but for now, we can just need to remember that string is a sequence of characters. And we can use something called indexing for these sequences, specifically for string as well. So let's say we have this line, string 1, string 2, string 3 are strings. Let me just split it. str1 is a sequence, and we can slice it using different areas of the string. For example, I want to take just the first 4 digits, okay? So whatever I can do, just use this little to go to time. And write 4. And this is what happens next is just slicing it and taking the first 4 letters. All right? And the slice of a string is also a string. Okay?
That's how you slice it when you put this.
Yeah. This nekudotan.
Can you move again so I can see what you did on the screen? When you're sitting there,
Maybe you
I
should
can't
sit
see.
here. No.
Can you see it now?
Yeah. Thank you.
Too tall. Anyway, it really depends on where do you put this little dots, okay? Whenever you put it before your integer slicer or after the integer slicer. For example, if you write down column, נכון. If you will use column at the beginning of the slicer, we call this little square braces slicer. Then we'll start from slicing from the beginning. So columns 4 means that get first 4 column, the first 4 letters, first 4 characters. Whenever you put the columns after the 4, it means that get from the 4th letter till the end. Okay? By the way, if we get if we slice different, we can just exceed our index and probably won't raise an error, but just return basically 0 length string. Okay, so we slice here from here basically nothing. If you want to take the 4 digits from the end, we can use negative as indexing from the left. For example, in this case, it will get from the -4, the last 4 digits till the end.
And it starts from -1, not from 0.
It starts from 0. So 0 columns 5 mean you get from the first letter to the 5th.
No, when you put a negative number, let's say -4, so it starts from the left, from the right,
Yeah.
from the end. But it starts from it starts counting from -1, -2, -3, not 0, -1.
Yeah. So for example, if you want only the last character, -1, columns will work. Okay. I think it's a good opportunity to see what is the good practice of C, how slicing works. So let me just take that. Can you see the board?
No, the guys in Zoom can't.
It's blurred.
Oh.
Take off the blurring.
No? I know. I need to improvise through that. So we have this little string that looks like that, right? And you want to know how you should slice it. The best way to see it is just by looking at the separations between characters as your index. So 0 will be this number. And whenever you see it like that, it will be much more easier to understand what part of the string you want. For example, if I write down, let's call it A. So A to column 5 will return
Rin, RIN.
RIN, right, from this part to this part, all right? And whenever we write, for example, A 0, 1,
The S.
to return S. Yeah, that's correct. The same way we can just
If you put only 0,
then also S.
yeah.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit confusing, but this is what it is. Anyway, I strongly recommend use both sides column. I mean, you use the column to understand what range you're in. If you write down A, 3 columns, and then not any number, does anyone have an idea? If you don't, yeah, if you don't specify the right number from the columns, it will just run through the end, right? Just the way of strings to be sliced in Python. Okay. As well, by the way, if you use -1, negative indexing. Negative indexing in this case will be -1, -2, -3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and in this way you can use either negative or positive integers indexing. Okay, let's go back to our code. All right. And by the way, as you can see here, it basically includes everything everything you want. You can see example of single indexing, single slice, single character, which can be used 0 or 2. You can see a range of sequences. You can see using negative and so on. Negative with, without n, and positive without n from the beginning, from start. There are some other operations that can be done on strings. Most of them are quite important. For example, you have length. What is the length of the string? So let's see an example. Length gets string as an input, okay, and returns integer as output. All right. Okay. Z equals length of string 1. Z plus 5. 4 will be 19. Okay. So Z, what the type of Z?
String.
String?
Int.
Integer, right. You have the function in, which is basically just whenever you press Ctrl F and try to find the string in the document, in probably works the same. A in string 1 is true, in string 1 is also true, in with capital I is false. I mean, as I said before, Python is capital sensitive, and in with small I, in with large I won't be the same. Okay, what will happen now? Let's try to figure out what string 2 will be. Reminder, str1 is made in Israel. So first of all, we take a slice from string 1 and try to count the first 8 letters, first 8 characters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this made in is basically what string 0 to 8 is, and China is basically just concatenating with what is done before. And this is it, okay? What string 1 will be now? Has it changed? Do you think it changed? No, it's still made in Israel. I mean, we took a slice from string 1 and used it to generate a new string that names string 2. But string 1 by itself wasn't changed at all, okay? And this is one important thing to know about strings. They are unchangeable. Whenever we create a string, it can be changed in place. And we can overwrite it with different string, but cannot be changed right after we created it. And this is not correct for many different data types, but for string and for integers, this is the case.